Captain Phanuel and High Priest Abaya stood at the bow of the ship looking towards Phrygia in the distance. "They'll see us coming. It's been clear sailing for most of the voyage. I suppose it's too much to ask for a fog bank to roll in right now."
"I prefer a straightforward fight. The sooner they see us, the sooner we will be able to kill them. They will not be prepared for what we will unleash upon them."
"Maybe. But I wouldn't bet on the Phrygians being caught by complete surprise. Once you discovered that your enemy was on this planet, you have been planning their destruction ever since."
I think you may be correct. The forces of darkness are never idle. But we have not been clinging to the coast. We took advantage of the clear weather and sailed directly across the Great Sea. We should have some element of surprise. And as always, the great enemy's chief interest is in the strength of flesh. I doubt they've developed technology that can contend with our steel.
"Enemy ships spotted off the port bow! They're sailing east, sir. It's hard to tell. They may be tacking against the wind to reach us."
I don't care what they do. We fight them if they approach, and target their masts and sails. Our strength is on land, and we must make for it as swiftly as possible. Whatever they do not let them break our formation.
The Ashkenazi fleet sailed together as tightly as could be managed safely. Abaya's heart rate began to climb as they drew closer to the stronghold of the enemy. Each moment seemed to drag on and on. The tiny spires in the distance refused to draw closer. The high priest checked his rifle again. Most of the Temerine and their horses were housed in the ships in the center of the formation. They would be of little use until landing. The poor nomads had been stuck in the 'tween decks struggling to keep down food and water. Hopefully, they would recover their strength and their fighting spirit when they made landfall.
"We're maintaining our northerly course. Enemy ships are continuing east. They're not tacking, sir. I think they're fleeing."
A few shouts went up from the sailors and soldiers on deck. Neither Phanuel nor Abaya shared their enthusiasm. The golem shook his head. "You don't think they're fleeing, do you?"
No. I think they're going to tack back west soon. If we keep sailing north towards Gordian, and they time their tack correctly.
They could sail right up behind us.
Yes. With faster ships and more skilled sailors.
So what should we do?
We let them come up behind us and cut off our escape. With nowhere to retreat, we must move forward. This battle will end in our deaths, or the deaths of our enemies. Steel shall meet flesh, and flesh shall give way.
I hope you're right.
Have some faith, priest.
The spires of Gordian began to grow taller as the enemy fleet with their scarlet sails drew closer, bearing the Phrygian banners fluttering in the wind, a great roaring lion. But the ancient symbol now stood on a blood-red banner, its mouth spattered with gore, standing over the ruined bodies of its prey. The great Tower of Gordian was their ultimate target, the seat of power for the monarch of Phrygia. As the Crimson Fleet closed in behind, the Temerine horsemen slowly made their way onto the decks. Al-Rashid emerged resplendent in his pristine white garments and his gold-hilted sword at his side. Despite the misery of the voyage, his face was set like stone, determined to face the enemy. The rest of his men were a bit more pale, and they had not yet found their bravery, but the promise of a land battle raised their spirits a bit. They were close now. The first few arrows from the Phrygian ship struck the water just a few yards away from the rear guard of the fleet. The musketeers prepared their weapons, casually loading each shot and getting into position. when the shooting really started, their training would take over, and they would load and reload like a machine. Shrieking battle cries could be heard faintly over the waves as the Phrygian pirates drew near.
Wait until they close the distance. The rolling seas will throw off your aim, but it will be the same with their arrows. Stand fast, servants of the Emperor. Today they shall know the strength of steel. For the flesh is weak.
No man do they call me. My mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all for listening to this week's episode of the Heart of Iron series. If you like what you heard, please leave a like and a comment so that you too might find yourself trapped between vicious pirates and a city of blood and decadence with only your faith in the Emperor to sustain you. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe for more stories about Space Marines playing Civilization 6 with primitive people on feral planets. If you would like to support me, you can do so via Patreon or PayPal. Both of those will be linked below. And if you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can click on the Heart of Iron playlist, which should be appearing on screen right now. Thanks once again for listening. No Man out.